Hello and welcome to this channel, Primera Business Coaching channel. My name is Frenzel Gillian and I'm a business and leadership coach. Welcome to this video. The topic for today will be about business coaching and what it is. I often engage with people and I find that there's a misconception or perhaps a misunderstanding of exactly what business coaching is. So my video today will be designed to demystify what business coaching is, and I hope you will stay with me till the end of the video. So what I will cover today are some definitions of business coaching. I'll also cover the business life cycle and how different conversations happen with business leaders in those different stages of the business development. I'll also talk about the respective service providers or the players, the role players in the industry and how they differ, how they add value in a different way. I am a former corporate executive. I'm a former financial director and chief investment officer. So my area of focus, my area of passion is executive and leadership coaching. And I'll talk really about also my focus and my approach as a coach in my practice, and hopefully you'll benefit from that as well. So I want to start in a slightly different place by talking about life coaching and also sports coaching. And you may ask me why have I chosen to start there. I hope that you will see that there are some similarities and some differences, and perhaps that's also where the confusion comes in. So life coaches do important work. They work with clients more on a personal level, I would say, towards personal and professional goals. And they use what one would call positive psychology techniques and reframing tools, affirmations, and so on, to then help clients achieve their goals. And these areas could include personal growth and self-esteem, how to really think about yourself in a more positive way, reframe negative behaviors and negative attitudes, career development and how to set career goals, work-life balance in terms of making sure that all the areas in your life are in balance, whether it's your finances, your work, family, other social goals that you may have. Time management and how to allocate and best optimize time would also be part of it. Financial management, how to balance the books or balance your finances. Health and wellness, maybe there are some goals in terms of taking on a new hobby, a new area that could help from a fitness and health and fitness perspective, spending time in the gym, for example. Life transitions, for example, moving to a different town or different place in the world, and then also whether a person is going to a midlife crisis or maybe retirement and so on. And in relationships and interpersonal skills, now some coaches you may have seen may focus in a particular area and become specialist in that particular area, as it were, as a life coach. Now, if one looks at sports coaching, I also want to look at that and see how sports coaching, what we can learn from sports coaching. Now, sports coaches are also called athletic coaches, and these are professionals that guide and instruct and train athletes to perform at various levels. So here we're talking about performance, improving performance, developing skills, whether it's at different levels, maybe start the sort of beginner level, then to the professional athlete level, and to achieve competitive goals. Now, goals within a competitive setting or competition environment. And they work at levels ranging from youth and amateur to professional, often emphasizing holistic development beyond just winning. So here we're talking about the whole person, working with the whole person. And according to my notes here, the sports coaches would look at skill and technique development, physical conditioning and strength training, mental and psychological preparation, strategy and tactics, team dynamics, leadership, administration and program management. And here, by way of example, one can look at athletes like Tiger Woods, who started having a passion or interest in golf, using picked up from his father, and as he went along, he obviously improved his technique, and then later on started competing at different levels of competition and ultimately at the professional level. And then he ran into a coach, I think, called Butch Harmon, who then helped him to really take his game to a different level. That also involved re-looking at his swing, but particularly also the mental aspects and how to perform under pressure, visualization techniques, and so on. And I explained that in a little bit of detail to just show you the overlap in some ways with business coaching, because in business coaching, the business coach really works with the leader or the entrepreneur or the business owner to really help them perform at their peak and to achieve their goals, whatever those goals might be. So I've got a definition there from Google. I'll just read it for you. I'll also share it in the video. Business coaching is a collaborative partnership, and there's the aspect of collaboration, which I'll stress in this video, where an experienced professional helps business owners and leaders clarify their vision, set goals, and develop strategies to overcome challenges and achieve growth and personal fulfillment. So it's not only about challenges, it's also about designing what one could call an impossible future. What could you do if there weren't these limiting beliefs, if one can put it that way? What would be the goals and strategies to get there? What would be the goals and what would be the strategies to achieve this desired outcome that you may have? I also like the aspect of partnership and collaboration, so I'll talk about that in some detail. So I hope that sets the scene for what we'll be talking about today, which is really business coaching, what it means and how it could benefit you as a leader, an entrepreneur, business owner. So I want to talk now about the different role players in the broad ambit of business coaching, the business coaching or business consulting sector, let me put it that way. So the first one is a mentor. So a mentor is not a coach. There may be some overlaps, but when we talk about mentoring, we're talking about a different type of individual. If I may take myself as an example, I mentor other younger CAs, chartered accountants. I'm a chartered accountant. And this is an informal relationship. I may meet with my mentee once or twice a year, and we might talk about certain things happening in their lives, and I might share my experiences from my career. And so it's more about advice, it's more about telling and drawing from life experiences, and it's not a formal or professional relationship. An advisor or consultant is an expert. So here we might talk about someone that could come into your business and help you maybe with your sales process, or it could be even an auditing firm that maybe will help you with your risk management processes, and they come in, they do something, and they move on. Could also be someone that helps you during an acquisition. If you want to acquire another asset, another business, you'll get a consultant advisor that guides you through this process, and then they leave. So the advisor or consultant is an expert that provides the advice to you, and then they leave. They're more of someone that provides a service, drawing from their experience and telling you what to do. Then I also want to talk about a therapist. I spoke earlier about life coaching and how it talks a lot about positive psychology, which is also something that business coaches use, and I'll talk about it in a moment. But a therapist is someone that is a trained professional that focuses on the past. And a lot of the conversation during therapy would be talking about how to overcome trauma, maybe present trauma, past trauma, and those are very important areas, but that's not what a coach is doing. So a business coach partners, we spoke about it being collaborative, partners with the entrepreneur, with the business leader. And the idea is to then achieve growth and personal transformation. So it's not only about results, it's really about helping the personal transformation for the individual. And that leads me to the definition of what coaching is. I spoke about business coaching, but what is coaching? What is it? What do I mean by coaching? Is it teaching? Is it telling? So coaching, according to this definition that I have there, it says coaching is a development process where an experienced individual, the coach, partners with a client to help them achieve specific goals by fostering self-reflection, improving skills, and maximizing potential. It focuses on unlocking the client's own abilities to find solutions and drive change rather than teaching or providing direct advice. So I spoke about a mentor who will be an individual that has experience from their own life and then perhaps will be more in a telling mode, giving advice. This is how I would do it. This is what I think you should do. Think about this. Whereas the coach is also a professional that has been trained using certain coaching methodologies and frameworks. And the idea is that the coach is experienced in having powerful conversations with a client to help them achieve or unlock their own abilities. It's really about helping the client to reflect on certain areas in their lives. And so I hope you will find benefit in this. What I also like to say, often people think about coaching as something remedial. There's a problem and now the coach needs to come in and help someone go through a problem in the workplace. Maybe a leader that needs to transition to a next level. So I'd like to say that coaching is not really necessarily about remedial action. It's really about helping people maximize their own potential. To think about what I would call an impossible future, something that you could not achieve maybe by your own effort alone, but you need a partner or coach to come alongside you. What I have there for you is also the life stages of a business. So this is the business from formation, from inception to decline. So one could think about this as a small business, the startup phase of a small business, to where the business becomes more established. It's now got sales, it's got some level of profitability, to the maturity stage where it becomes, it's got steady revenue, steady cash flows, profitability, it's got a team. I'll unpack it a little bit more. Then the decline stage where the business is now perhaps a large conglomerate or it's a very well-established private company, and now it's struggling for maybe market share. It needs to improve profitability. It's maybe lost touch with its business model and now need to relook at the business model. And there's the potential for decline or for business failure. So in the initial stages, I've got there on the screen the founder's trap and then the success trap and then also 3 feet from gold. So in the initial stages, someone starting a new business may be struggling to have market penetration, struggling to get sales, if I may put it that way, and to have profitability. They may have a limited working capital. And so there is the risk of giving up. It says 3 feet from gold. Giving up just before you then become profitable or your product reaches critical mass. The next one there is the founder's trap. This is where the business becomes a bit more successful and everything is about the founder. It doesn't have a team. It's all about the entrepreneur and it's my baby and I don't want other people to be in my business and so on. The success trap, it would also be where the business now has consistent sales, but there could be challenges relating to working capital management. So for some people, revenue equals profitability, and that's not the case. And once you've booked a sale, you obviously still have to get the cash flow in. So those are some of the areas that one could say is the success trap. So just to then talk a little bit more about this. At the startup stage or learning stage, the focus is, as I said, on business structure. What type of legal structure? Is it a formal company? Is it a public company or limited company? What type of business structure? The business plan, the various components of the business plan. The coach can talk about that. The business model. What exactly is the business model? How do you create value? And how do you implement that? Raising capital, whether it's from angel investors, from banks and so forth. And then the whole marketing. Obviously, you can have a business plan, but if you can't market and you can't get your product out there, you will not be able to be successful. And at this stage, at the startup and learning stage, it could be the founder. It could also be a couple of employees, but it's not very formal and the founder wears many different hats. The next stage, at the growth stage, the challenges are different. So here the business has some revenue, it starts to scale, it now has need for a bigger team. There's different challenges around how to manage a team, how to engage with customers, how to engage with suppliers, how to engage with funders, and so on. And the founder now moves to a more formal role where it's now really about becoming a CEO as opposed to a founder that wears these many hats. And there could be challenges also with working capital. At the maturity stage, the business is now institutionalized, it's got systems and processes, it's got perhaps an external auditor, it's got maybe some non-executives or independent directors. It may have gone to the market to raise equity capital, so it's no longer the founder or initial team that have got the equity in the business. They may have now involved private equity investors, so the business becomes a bit more formal. It's increasing in profitability, it's improved systems, it's maybe diversified into different products, and it faces different challenges around governance, around strategy, around leadership, and so forth. And it also has this challenge about building a leadership pipeline to follow the founder. So I hope you get the sense that, different challenges at different stages of the business. At the decline stage, the business have now, there are different challenges. For example, we know in recent times there's been this whole discussion about tariffs that the US government has implemented to various of its trade partners. And now a more mature business that could impact any business, but I'm just making an example. Now this business that has had some level of success has now got new challenges, and how does it adapt its strategy, its business model. Maybe it's the previous mergers that it's gone through hasn't quite worked, hasn't quite been integrated. So again, different stages at the decline stage. So I've got a slide there on the screen that just gives you some summary of the points that I've mentioned. I won't go through them again. Spoken about the different stages of the business, the different conversations, the different challenges. Similarly, there are different players, different service providers that are best placed to provide a solution. So at the startup or early stage, the learning stage, you have industry players like business incubators. Now, this could be government originated or government sponsored, or it could be private incubators. And the incubator is exactly what it, if the image of an incubator is a baby put in an incubator to grow. The baby's still very vulnerable, and how do you protect the baby? So that's the idea, that within these incubators, you maybe have shared offices, shared infrastructure, for example, accounting and marketing functions. There may be peers, there may be networking opportunities, there may be learning and growth conversations that happens formally within these incubators, and that's how the business then maybe pre-revenue, it may be early revenue, before profitability, it's still a very young business, and so on. Here you also find accountants that play a role, maybe providing support on preparing management accounts, SME consultants that could help on various aspects, for example, the sales or processor side. The next stage would be the growth stage, where the business, as I said, has got revenue, it's becoming a bit more formalized. And here you have different business coaches. And some of the business coaches that plays in the growth stage could be more what I would call directive. So they would come into the business and focus on a particular area. Could be finances, could be sales, as it were, could be supply chain. And they would then essentially be more in a telling mode, like one would talk about an advisor, consultant. They still have conversations with the client or the business leader, but it's more paint by numbers, a systemized approach. And similarly with business consultants, could also be someone that helps the company at this stage come up with a new strategy, a new sales approach, and so on. At the mature stage and decline stage, as I mentioned, you have different players. And here you would have coaches having a different approach. I spoke about leadership and executive coaching, which is my focus area. You will find that as the business matures and it's got a bigger team, you would then also have executive and leadership coaches that could then help the executive team with its areas of conflict management, It could be self-awareness, it could be resilience, it could be a team management, engaging with stakeholders, and so on. Also strategy consultants that could help now redefine the business model, business approach, and then mergers and acquisitions advisors that helps the business maybe find a new target to acquire, dispose some areas, and so on. So that's how the conversations would differ. I've given you just a taste of some of the conversations that could happen in that space. Now, in terms of business coaching, my own approach, I follow a approach that is aligned to the ICF methodology, or the Commensa methodologies, where it's more of a conversations, powerful conversations to have with clients to help them reflect and create awareness around opportunities for growth. So there are 3 pillars that I focus on in my approach. The one is business mastery, the next one is people mastery, and then the other one is personal mastery. Now, in the business mastery, it could be many different things. It could be the business plan, a business model, how you create value in the business, the different aspects of your business model, the external environment and how it relates to the internal environment, strategic planning, how to look at your strategy again and make sure that the strategy speaks to where the business is and where it needs to go. Systems and processes could be on the finance side, could be on the sales side, could be we could have a conversation around financial performance of the business, and so forth. It could be also about a particular project in the business. It could be about competencies required by the leaders or by the business. There could be conversations, for example, around AI. That's now something that is very important. How does the business adapt to AI? Innovation, how does the business, what does it need in terms of competencies, both at the management level, at the executive level, at the team level. So those are on the business mastery side. On the other people mastery side, so these would be other people in the business. It could be suppliers. How do you engage with suppliers? How are your relationships with customers? How do you expand, diversify? How do you engage with customers? Teams. How do the leaders engage with teams? Whether it's their immediate teams, their peers. It could also be the board members, stakeholders, regulators, communities. So conversations about other people are part of what I do as part of my coaching practice, working with leaders. Then also personal mastery. I spoke earlier about life coaching, and this is an area where one could, for example, say that there are an overlap with life coaching. Here we're talking about the person. We coach as a coach, I coach the people in the business. And here we're talking about personality styles. We all have different personalities, different ways in which we see the world, different personal strengths. And our approach is to focus more on the person's strength than necessarily focusing on weaknesses, although we do have conversations around blind spots. Core values. What are your core values? How do your core values align with where you want to take your career or your business? What are the core values of the business? Is another conversation in the business mastery side. Limiting beliefs. How do beliefs that you hold limit you from achieving your potential as a leader, or your potential in terms of managing your team, in terms of where you want to take the business? Behaviors. What behaviors are helpful and what behaviors are not helpful in terms of achieving your goals? Emotions, emotional intelligence, how to regulate emotions, how to recognize emotions and work with emotions to your best advantage. So those are some of the conversations in the personal mastery side. Now, I hope you found benefit in this video. As I part, I just want to encourage you to continue to follow this channel and also get in touch with me as a coach. In summary, some of the benefits that a competent coach can offer a business would be improved business performance. As I said, one of the areas I focus on is business mastery and having conversations with business leaders, CEOs, executives, founders, senior managers around business performance. The other one could be around leadership, resilience, and effectiveness. We live in a world that is very competitive, fast-paced, interconnected, and requires all of us to be resilient and to adapt to challenging circumstances. So how to be more resilient, how to be more effective, to get the best out of your team, get the best out of yourself, that work-life balance, being able to get up again and put your best foot forward. Better strategic planning and execution. So in other words, having the right conversations, asking the right questions, creating awareness, that could help with better strategic planning and then also execution. Increase shareholder value. So ultimately, it's about return on investment for me as a coach to show the business and my clients how an intervention with myself and other coaches could then take the business forward. And here we're talking about improved sales, improved profitability, and how that translates into shareholder value. So that's an important aspect. Improved organizational culture. So, for example, after a change in leadership, maybe a new merger or some change that happens in the business, how do we improve culture? How do we create a positive culture? So improved culture, organizational culture, and change readiness is another potential benefit that coaches can offer businesses. And then on a personal level, greater clarity of purpose. Someone said, if you know your why, you will know your way. So if you know what you're aiming at, if you have clear clarity of purpose, that could be of a tremendous benefit to you in your life and also in your business. So I hope this video has been able to demystify business coaching, also to give you a sense of the different role players where coaching can play a role, and also to be able to show you that coaching can be of benefit to you as a leader. It's not about remedial action, it's really about designing an impossible future. So if you would like to explore my coaching offering, please feel free to get a hold of me, and I can then take the conversation forward. So thanks for your time. Until the next video, have a great day.